You guys, today is a super exciting day for me. It's new BRZ day. Look at this thing. I haven't bought a BRZ since the second build that we bought on this channel. This is a crashed, salvaged, auction find BRZ that I got for insanely cheap, 2023 model, and we are going to make it into the coolest BRZ I have ever seen. I dare say one of the coolest BRZs in the entire world. Immediate issues: it's stuck in the wrong place in the shop. It doesn't run. Those are the big immediate issues. Let me give you a walk around. This is gonna be quick. You will see us over the next build series work on every single part of this car. Front bumper just peeled off a little bit. I don't know why. Probably a shipping incident. Under the hood, what looks to be a super clean engine bay, and I spotted BC Racing coilovers set to nearly maximum camber. Questionable decisions made there. Engine bay looks really clean and really good, which makes me feel optimistic about getting this thing to run. The less damaged side is going to be the driver's side right now. Crashes with auction cars are always somewhat mysterious. Like, how do you hit so many different weird things? But side mirror gone, side skirt popped off over here with seemingly no other damage around it. So again, just, you know, mystery. We come back here. This side is good. They've got a single exit exhaust, scratch on the bumper, but it doesn't matter because it's pretty much fully cracked in half as we move over here. And then this comes into the damage that salvaged out the vehicle. Big whack over here. Based on the racing stickers, on the interior, I saw this on the auction photos, no driver's seat. So my guess, based on the fact that it is a manual, had an aftermarket seat, has BC Racing coilovers set to max camber, somebody was probably sliding this thing. Although the rear tires do show tread left, so that's, you know. Anyways, as we get over to here, you have your classic passenger side rear quarter panel damage that does happen when people go drifty a lot. They tend to be more ballsy with the passenger side and smash it into things. So, big smash, Hulk smash, quarter panel damage. Then we walk over to the front, again, side mirror damage, little bit of door damage, like little scuff right there, little bit of denting right here, fender damage right here, and that brings us around to the vehicle that we bought. I'll show you my auction footage in fast pace. I actually bought this during the second day of SEMA, so I was working on the Murcielago every day, but in the morning at the hotel room, I bid on this vehicle and won it. I honestly forgot the amount of money, around $5,700 before fees. Fees will get you. And we just did that full upgrade on the camper truck to go get this thing from California where it was at, and my plan was to drive it down to TJ Hunt's place, but all the snow stopped us, so we had it shipped here. Now the game plan is to get this car running and driving in a good way and drive it down to TJ Hunt's place so we can start talking about body kits with the Street Hunters guys. I can't wait to show you guys the renderings of this. Once you see the renderings, you're gonna lose it, but I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for a little bit. Let's try and get this car running. Now on auction, there are three basically different vehicle type status. You have runs and drives, you have engine starts, which is probably what this one would have classified at if they got the engine to start, and then you have just nothing. They just kind of don't say anything. That's a bit of a wild card, and it drives the auction prices down lower. I have not touched this vehicle. It could be as simple as plug in a new battery and fire the car up. It could be that we're never gonna get this vehicle to start. I have absolutely no clue what we're getting into, but I feel very hopeful due to the fact of where the damage is and how good the engine looks. If it was highly modified and had a wiring job like I used to do back in 2017, I'd say it probably wasn't gonna start, but we're looking good. Vehicles need to run: air, fuel, spark, lube. And I guess we might have to add power to that list. Voltage. We've checked the battery. It is flat dead. That's our first thing. We're gonna try and find a similar size battery. I think if I steal one out of my 2019 Mustang, that's gonna be a good fit. So we're gonna grab a fully charged battery. We do have a set of keys that came with the vehicle. I hope they are the keys for the vehicle. The full air intake system here looks unmodified, unchanged, and looks pretty pristine. I'm gonna assume air is good. Fuel, we will check once we get power to the vehicle. We'll check the fuel level inside the vehicle. Spark, I guess that's where the battery comes from. Again, looks unchanged, so hopefully that won't be an issue, but it's something we can troubleshoot if we're not getting a start. But you want to get the engine to crank first before you're worried about starting. And lube, as I checked the oil, it's got a recent oil change. The oil looks good quality and it is full. So that is great signs. We're gonna go ahead and grab a battery and apply some power to this vehicle, see what happens. We've got a fresh battery on my brand new ride, and we heard 0 dings or dongs or beeps or boops, which is not a good sign. Let me open the door. Hey, we got some screenage. I don't remember the auction information if that's more than normal. I think they always had screenage, actually. Kyle, can you grab me some snippers? See if I can pop the trunk. Oh no. Try and power it on. Okay. Did accessory mode. I don't know if it would do that without a key. Okay, I agree. Let's try and turn it on more. Turning on more work. I love this little crosshair thing. Headlights are on. I think it does, in fact, kind of like our key. Going through our warnings. Okay, airbag warning. That's as to be... Wait, what airbag went off? Maybe the one in the seat. Or maybe just the seat's unplugged. We got fuel. There's a lot of warnings on the dash. I don't know if that's just normal. Okay, well, this is the point where we try and start the vehicle because we have everything else chucked off our list. Look, we got blue underglow. I wonder if that's factory or not. Depress brake and clutch and ignition. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Woohoo! They made it easy for us. We've got a coolant. Oh, that's probably just a coolant warning because it's probably very cold outside. It says it's 42. I don't know. We can check the coolant system. Again, it looked fine. Pretty rad. I love it. It's like, you guys know I love a good deal. $5,700 for 2023 and it runs like this. It runs perfect. It's got just about 40,000 miles on it. So cool. Okay, so now that we can power up the car, we can turn the front wheels, which means we can push this thing into a little bit better place to work on it. One thing I did want to mention, if you were to have followed the steps that we just did and you got nothing, I mean cars completely flat, still off, usually something's always going to happen when you open the door on any modern car. It can be what's called a pyrofuse. And I might have made up that term, so I'm not really sure, but sometimes on the ground or on the positive, what you'll find is a fuse that is connected to a wire. This very well could be one because it also could be a voltage meter. It could be a lot of things. I'm not sure what this is, but on a lot of high-end luxury cars, they have these, and they might be integrating them into other cars too. And essentially, what it does is the second the airbag, the SRS system, safety restraint system, senses a crash, it pops the fuse and disconnects the battery from the whole vehicle. I don't think that's a wonderful thing to do, really, in a vehicle, but oh well. And so I had my eyes on this with the potential that it could have been one, and that would have been the next thing I would have checked is bridging across here if I would have got power. If I connect that ground with a solid connection, would the vehicle have started to function differently? We got the trunk open. There was no really fun mysteries in the trunk. What was that cup from? Buc-ee's or something? Jollibee. Jollibee. Oh yeah, there's a Jollibee cup in there. I gotta go there sometime. I've heard good things. And now we've got a lot more room to work on this vehicle. Now, let's go over the best case scenario, worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is that we dive into this trunk right here and we see that the strut tower is damaged and that has to be replaced. That is a lot of work to replace that strut tower. And worst case scenario out here is that the impact of this jammed a control arm into the frame rail and dented the frame rail or the subframe if this vehicle has a subframe, which I don't remember it having one. Best case scenario, if it goes as well as the engine situation goes, we cut space out of here for this wheel to exist again. We cut damaged quarter panel off, which we're going with a wide body kit, which covers this whole area anyways. So we cut the damage off. We find out that there's damaged control arms. We replace the damaged control arms. And anytime you get a bad whack like this, you need to replace your wheel bearing or it will be going out shortly as well. That would be the best case scenario. So let's keep working and see what we find. First thing is you can usually see your strut towers from one of two areas. Sometimes you can see them from up here through the back window. Given how little space there is up there, I can't imagine that's the case on this vehicle. So they are probably bolted in through the trunk through here. So we've got to pull all this cloth covering out and assess damage. We're 2 for 2 on good news here. Engine starts, and that is the rear shock tower, and it is completely untouched from the damage. As we roll up here, and we're looking at the gas cap area, very touched. So that's fantastic. I'm gonna leave the carpeting out because we're gonna be doing work from the other side, and I think it'll be good to have visuals from this side to see what we're doing. So just to take you through my thought process on how I'm gonna start going at this, we've gotta get the damaged metal away so we can inspect the frame, we can inspect the control arms, and we can get hopefully everything just replaced and good and have a functioning suspension system. It just realized to me right now that BC Racing coilover may be kinked in half, which would be a bummer. Anyways, as I'm cutting through here, We need to be very careful not to hit a fuel line. There are fuel breather lines. There's the fuel fill line. That could be very dangerous to shoot sparks into that system. It could cause a really bad fire. So we need to be careful about that. You can use saws like a body saw, a jigsaw, a reciprocating saw that throw a lot less sparks. Might be really smart. I inspected the wide body kit that's incoming on this vehicle, and it makes a connection from about here to all the way through here. So I want to keep enough metal for sure. We may replace this whole quarter panel, go back to OEM and then cover it with a body kit, or we may just build it out to reach the body kit, which is going to be flush mounted in the long run, so it ain't ever coming off. It's not like anybody would ever see anything down here. So I'm thinking slow cuts, free up this gas area right here, take out this damaged area through here, slow small bites till we get access to what we need. Real quick fun discovery that I found out right before I started cutting here. Wood debris, like little pieces of, there's a twig, and that definitely looks like bark and wood material in this thing right here. So I'm guessing tree. I'm guessing tree impact. This met Mother Nature would be my guess. Looking better already. Now, this should go without saying, but don't do anything that I ever do on this show. But I did not follow the commonsensical idea of using a non-sparky device, so don't do that. I'm just an expert, so I'm allowed to. I'm a highly insured professional. When I went to jack up the car, the whole wheel assembly just kind of completely just fell out. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. I have not peeked my eyes underneath there yet. I want to stay focused on this stuff. So there is a pop mechanism that has an electrical connection right here, probably to a servo, and then there's the manual version to do that. I guess that's if you can just jump in your trunk. If for some reason your battery's dead, you can pop your fill cap. I'm going to go ahead and unbolt this. It could be one of those things that the car's very unhappy about if you don't have it. I have a feeling though that our wide body kit is going to give us a new fill cap thing, so that won't be happening anymore. So I'm going to unbolt this and throw it back inside, trim this up, clean this up a little bit more, and I don't know if I'm done cutting for now or how much more exploratory surgery needs to be done. All right, that was a quickie. Time to hold our breath, take this wheel off, and discover the extent of this damage. Fingers crossed moment. I'm feeling lucky today. We just went 3 for 3 on things we were worried about ending great. Let me show you around the damage. So I jump in here, just start looking at things, right? First thing that I noticed was this up here. It's nothing catastrophic. That's just where the tire wore through the plastic a little bit, and then it got stopped on the metal part of what is basically the frame rail that houses that shock coilover. The coilover is in good condition. The lower control arm looks to be in good condition. The secondary lower control arm over here looks to be in good condition. The toe adjustment rod, I don't know. That looks to be good. And then our upper control arm is cleanly sheared. Almost looks like it's rusting. I would have assumed that would be a cast aluminum piece, but gosh, it may have been cast steel. That would be crazy. When we get it off, if I remember, I'll test it. But that shearing off allowed the wheel and the tire to flex inward to hit right there. And that, I'm hoping, was the extent of the damage to this rear area. This is a subframe car. It has a rear subframe. All of the pickup points are fine. All of the control arm areas that I can find are fine. Even the pickup points for the upper control arm that are hiding back there that I am not excited about having to get to, those look completely fine. I've got no bending, no flexing of tabs, no nothing on any of that stuff for the subframe. It's all looking really good. Buying cars at auction completely sight unseen just from a few pictures and assuming damage can be quite a gamble. This time it looks as if, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it looks as if the gamble has paid off. What I would consider the medium expectation, the medium level of expected damage, and I think this is looking good for us getting this vehicle repaired on the road down to California. So at this stage, we've got some obvious sheet metal cleanup that we need to do, but before we do that, I think it's going to be easier to do that when we have the replacement parts here. Now there is a guy one city over that is parting out a black BRZ, and that's kind of, fingers crossed, they're gonna have the parts that we need for this vehicle. So the idea is that we're gonna head over there after this and start salvaging parts. The control arm, like I showed you, the upper control arm looks pretty annoying to get to, so I wanna practice getting that off on this vehicle before we head over to the part out vehicle, which is in a gravel driveway, and try and do it there. That way we know we're bringing all the right tools and everything like that. So we're gonna go ahead, and we've got the car jacked up very safely, stabilized it and everything like that. We're gonna climb underneath here and try and detach the upper control arm from not just the knuckle, but also from the subframe. You guys, I just found the ultimate Christmas gift for you to give to your loved ones. And that's why today's episode is sponsored by Aura. Aura digital frames are beautifully designed Wi-Fi picture frames that you can upload your photos into and collaborate with people all around the world to share amazing photo experiences. As my friend Chris Fix would say, I'm gonna do a little of out with the old, in with the new. The holidays are a very special time for all of us. I have a wonderful holiday tradition of going with my friends and my family to New York City. So I've got all these pictures like this laying around, and think how great it would be if I could load them all onto the digital picture frame and send it to them for the holidays. And that's exactly what you can do with Aura frames. I think that makes it hands down the best holiday gift this year. So right now I've got travel pictures over here and build pictures over here, but it is the holidays. So with the Aura app, it is so simple. I just load the app, select the picture frame, grab your album, and load them all in. Takes less than a minute, and now I've got my holiday tradition for everybody to see. There's no USB connection or memory cards that you gotta throw in here. You can do it all from your phone. You can preload these things without even unboxing them, so you can preload it and then wrap it, gift wrap it, and mail it off. You know, if your family lives far away, this is a really, really great way to be able to share memories with them so they don't have to look at your recent photos on social media. And let's be honest, we spend hundreds of dollars on phones with good cameras. We take a lot of pictures, but often don't show them to anybody. And this is a great way to get these pictures into your loved one's house or into your own house. I'm so happy with having these. So I think this is hands down the coolest gift that you can give somebody this year. And you can get $35 off by going to auraframes.com. And you'll get $35 off Aura's bestseller, the Carver matte frames. That's what I have here, by using the promo code B is for build at checkout. That's AURA frames.com. And this deal is exclusive to you viewers, so get it now while you can and get it in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions do apply. Huge thanks to Aura for brightening up my living room with all these amazing memories and sponsoring this episode. This is fantastic. Let's get back to it. Upper control arm is absolutely crazy. Super, super tight working area in there. I would say it's 2 people. You're gonna want a good quality breaker bar, not like the crap one I've built over there. Something closer to that. Good quality breaker bar. It's all 17 mil stuff. 2 people, lots of patience. Cool thing is that the subframe was not tweaked at all. So once we did get the bolts out, this thing just slid out. That's a good sign that we didn't bend the subframe around at all, because these bushings would get really tight. Crazy thing is, this is actually steel. I spark tested it. This thing sheared, I mean, 1/4 inch thick steel, very luckily, before bending my subframe. So lucky, lucky. But cool. So we're loading up tools. We're heading out to the parts car. We shall return with treasure. We're back for the next day, and we have got some goodies. We salvaged a lot off that parts car. I think we have everything that we need. Here's where we're gonna get started. It gets dark early this time of year, so we're really gonna focus on getting a test drive under our belt to feel comfortable with this vehicle. So mechanical driving things are coming up first. That means Kyle's gonna throw in our control arm. This is the replacement control arm for the bad one. Kyle's gonna get that in. The donor vehicle had a damaged lower control arm, and we didn't bring the tools to pop the wheel bearing off. That is gonna have to be changed in the long run. Hopefully it won't be too big of an issue for getting us down to California for right now. So basically we're leaving our 2 lower control arms and our tie rod adjustment arm, assuming that they are good. They don't look damaged at all, so they should be good. We're just gonna replace this upper control arm, and then we'll get into making room for that wheel, because I think some of that crash damage is going to block the rotation of that wheel. So Kyle's going to get started on that. The donor car was a GR86, and it was not the premium package. So this car has the full premium package, and you can tell because of the seats have this really nice leather trim on it. Everything is matching red stitching in all of the leather accents. Even though this is kind of a bummer. I mean, a 1-year-old car and the steering wheel's coming apart. That's not good. So for now, we're going to be rolling with some mismatched seats, but they will fit in the car. In the future, so this build is a SEMA build. This build is going to SEMA. Wait till I show you the design, you'll see why. And so we want to have like the coolest of everything. So in the future, I see us with these Corbeau seats. I hope I can find a picture of them online. They're really, really sexy seats, and then they have a white FRP back on them, which is like really, really good looking. It looks like a supercar seat. Since this is a white car build, I thought that would be like a really, really nice touch. So you guys know we're partnered with Corbeau. Hopefully we'll get a set of those out for this build ASAP. But in the meantime, it's the clothies. Which I don't mind a good cloth seat actually, but it's not heated. Corbeaus are heated. I'm gonna go ahead and get the seat in the car. Seat went in with no drama. Just remember when you're doing seats, get the bolts hand tight first and keep them loose while you get all 4 in and then torque them down. You don't want to cross thread a seat mounting bolt. One cool thing about this vehicle is premium options got the heated seats. Non-premium option has airbag wires and probably the sensor for the seatbelt wires. And they keep all those wire bundles 3 separately rather than some manufacturers will keep the heated seat and the rest of the wires in 1 unit, and that would have been a nightmare. We would have been doing rewiring, but actually they kept them 3 different ones, so I just left one unplugged for the time being, and we are good to go. Seat, I even put it in the floor mat. I think that's one of the first times I've ever done that on a build. Next up, I got to get into the door card to deal with the side mirror, or let's say lack of side mirror. So these things are really, really easy. I love the way they designed them. Let me get a flathead and I'll pop this off. The bottom cap for this is split right here, and it comes around to right here. And there's a little bit bigger of a gap between the body right here. You know what? That's giving me a little more resistance than I want. I'm gonna try over here. There we go. Cool, got it off without breaking any tabs, I think. Pretty sure that's all good. I have extras of these too. But anyways, so that piece comes off. 1, 2, 3 10 mils. But as you can see, there's some wires that go into this and they run into the door card, so we got to pop the door card off. And I think it's easier to do the door card first and free the wire. That way you don't have a dangling side mirror while you're trying to do this. So for the door card, they made it really simple too. There's a leverage point right here, right inside here. I don't know why I'm still going left-handed with this, but whatever. And that gets visibility to 2 Phillips heads there and there. And then right behind this handle, if you pull on the handle, it gives you a lot more real estate to work in. And then you get in here, and I'm gonna do this with 2 hands. But anyways, you get in here, you pop this off, 1 Phillips head here. Once you have those undone, start over here where there's a little bit of a lip. Get your hands underneath this side of it and give it a good tug. It's basically push the pop pin type of things, plastic pop rivets or whatever you call them, across the door panel. So you wanna work those out along this U shape down here. And then once those are free, slide up to get it out of this windowsill seating area, and it'll hang down nicely to expose this wire. Here's the mirror that we got off the parts car. It was a black car, so I got a black mirror, which is actually pretty cool. I kind of like that. I think this one goes there, yeah. Now, what I don't have an idea of, and once I pulled that cable out, I really started thinking, man, I should have ran a guide string or something, is how I'm gonna fish this cable right here through that little hole, down, around, and back out to go to that white clip right there. This is gonna be tricky. There's a bit of a trick to that cable. I mean, obviously installing it, reinstalling is really easy, but here we go. Right here, there's a little bit of a opening in the door frame itself. Got to really get your hand in there as deep as you can, and then just with the tips of your fingers, guide that plug through. And then once you kind of get it through, then there's a lot of slack actually, and you get it plugged in. Now we just got to button up this door card and we'll be complete. This is a great car for beginners to start working on because they are very, very easily to maintain, to work on, to do maintenance, and to modify. That's the easiest door card on and off side mirror swap that I've done in years, probably ever. So far, very happy with how easy this car is to work on. And given the price, I think these are great starter cars for people that are thinking about modifying. I mean, hell, it's where I started it as well. Kyle's working on finding the right pops for the side skirt. This side skirt is off, and it doesn't look like it had anything to do with the wreck, which means you usually point your finger at the auction yard. They use forklifts to move these things, and sometimes panels pop or change, or sometimes it's a shipper, you never know. So it's attached with a million of these little plastic pop things, which you can see are out of the side skirt in different areas. Some are broken, some are out. We're gonna find a bunch of them, and then I guess put them back in the plastic and just pop it all back into place. While he's doing that, I'm gonna be swapping the side mirror on the other side. Got a little ahead of myself with the side mirror because I can't really open the door very well with it hitting this fender. Now these fenders are made out of aluminum. You can see how much, just if I give this a good pull, you can see how much movement I can put into this fender. I mean, and this fender is gonna be replaced by the body kit, which is why we're going down to California, meaning that's one of the next steps that we're gonna do. So I do believe that I have to have one of these on here by law. It's probably a good thing to have to stop the water from flying around. I'm just gonna go ahead and get a pry bar, use the tire as my anchor point, and just start prying around on this thing and get it out of the way from the door as much as possible. And anything that doesn't wanna play nice, I'm not gonna pry off the door because this only has one, well, it's got 2 dents in it. One dent right here, which doesn't look like it's from the accident, and then the one right here that was. And this is very, very easily fixed. So I'm not gonna pry using the door. I think that would be a bad idea. Which might mean I might need to just cut some of this out, just save time and get it out of the way since it's all temporary anyways. Look at that. I'm calling this paintless crash repair. It's working, door opens. We got to jump into the side skirt in a little bit, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and do the door card removal to do the side mirror. Kyle got this side skirt wrapped up and reinstalled beautifully, and now we're going to go ahead and get some new rear meat on this vehicle. So what happened was the rears were drifted to all hell. And we got replacements for the rears. The one that we have to stick with is the front. Inside on this front driver's side is worn down real bad, which I'm not happy with, but I think I'm just gonna have to live with it. We swapped the parts car. We gave them our wheels and those tires to get some wheels with brand new tires. These have 1,000 miles on them. The parts car only had 1,000 miles on it. So Kyle's gonna go ahead and throw these wheels and tires on the back here and then get it lowered down while I do the side mirror. We got the side mirror on there, doors all buttoned up. Side skirt kind of ejected itself when we let the car down. So Kyle's working on that side skirt. With the car now on its own 4 wheels on the ground, we can see that it's not quite a touch point. You can see it's actually still moving, but it's close enough. Obviously needs to be trimmed up. That is the sheet metal. That would be your inner quarter panel sheet metal that needs to be cut to do a wide body. This is going to be a wide body car. But the name of the game is for this, why we're not starting to, use pullers and start to pull all this stuff out right now, is I want to get the quarter panel for the wide body kit over here, the over fender, and that'll let us know where our expected body lines are and how far we want to move this metal so we don't move it extra and we don't pull it extra. I think it's better to get the body kit first, then we work this metal to meet the body kit, and that way we don't trim too much metal and have to try and add metal back on. That would be a nightmare. So I'm going to do a minimal trim above this wheel well on the inner quarter panel skin and just trim that out as you would with any wide body build to make sure that we have plenty of room for the suspension to actuate as we're driving down the road. Okay, a few minutes, got some things in a better spot, and now we got clearance for our wheel. I'm gonna go ahead and work on installing this rear tail light. Once I get it installed, I'll show you an interesting thing that I saw on this build. So we'll get that installed. This bumper is obviously unreinstallable, but I gotta get it fixed onto the car, so I know it's not going to go anywhere. So I think that's going to include some drift stitching and some holes and some zip ties. While I'm doing that, Kyle's going to come after the front bumper. Now the front bumper is not going to fall off because there's lots of really good mounting bolt holes for this thing, but it is popped out around our headlights and not attached to our fenders. I think this was definitely an issue during shipping, might have even been our fault. So Kyle's going to go ahead and jump into this thing and button up as much of this stuff as we can. We're getting close to a test drive here. Well, throwing the taillight in there definitely showed me different levels of extent of damage. The bumper and the bumper mounting point is a finger gap low down here, so all that sheet metal's got to get replaced as well. The parts car that we were pulling parts from got dented a little bit lower down, but I might be able to just get a quarter cut from the whole thing. If the owner's willing to do that, I don't know. If not, I might just order a quarter cut online. And that'll get us all that inner sheet metal, all this outer sheet metal, and reset that bumper mounting point as well. I think that's just gonna be the fastest way to go towards a repair on this. But it's all in, mounted securely, really strong on there, and zip tied in. So that's that quarter panel area for now, for our first test drive. Obviously, we've got some gaping holes going into the vehicle that are gonna be a little bit later tonight project, but we're trying to get on the road before it gets dark. One interesting thing I noticed when I was salvaging this taillight, I was like, that doesn't seem like it's the same light as what I have on my vehicle. This light has a red film overlay, or gosh, it might be paint. No, it's a red film overlay that I can peel off. I'm not really sure if I like the all red or the red with the clear. You guys let me know in the comments what you think. Obviously, for backing up, I think the clears are going to be more helpful. This is my least favorite design aesthetic on this vehicle because it looks like a Honda Civic. The taillights from the back look like a Honda Civic, and I just hate that. But it's not in the design to change these taillights, so might go with aftermarket taillights or anything to help set that away from that styling design. Over here in the front bumper is buttoned up. The splash guard is zip tied down. Shouldn't have any dragging. That is all good. So we, in the beginning of this episode, used a temporary battery from a Mustang. We've got the proper battery now. We're gonna go ahead and install this on the proper way. Bolt it down with the battery bolt down, shut the hood, and drive it out of the shop. I mean, I hope, fingers crossed. We haven't ever tried to drive this thing yet. When I got off the throttle, I think that semi truck in front of us had an air brake moment, and I was like, wait a minute, could this car be turbocharged? Oh. I mean, we'll find out right here. Not turbocharged. So on the dash here, we've got no warning lights, one warning light. I don't know what it means, but it's not like an airbag warning light or anything like that. It's just the universal warning symbol. Everything else is looking good. The ride is set to be way too stiff, but these RBC Racing coilovers, we can adjust that in a few seconds. I think if this goes well, what we'll do is we'll set out a little bit of that camber using the coilover camber plates. Try and get rid of a little bit of that extra camber that we don't need, and then definitely soften this ride a little bit because it is, I would say that probably set to almost full stiff. I was planning on an alignment, but honestly, I mean, this is holding its own on the road just fine. I feel like I'm not gonna get alignment until we get our new wheels and new tires and our wide setup. That way I just only have to do it once. Have you eaten?
Oh no, what happened?
Oh, I bought it this way.
I was gonna ask, because I saw the number on the tire.
Yeah, I got this for 5,000 bucks.
No way.
Yeah.
And it still runs and drives like that, or did you have to do anything?
I did some stuff, but not too much.
Oh, damn, that's quite a steal, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. All right, so this didn't need to be a super long test drive. I mean, tomorrow I am trying to drive this thing 1,000 miles to California. Everything's working as you would expect it. The alignment's better than I would expect. That's great. Like I said before in this episode, crash cars sight unseen at auction can be a bit of a gamble. I think this time the dice rolled our way. It's a little early to tell. It's pretty cool that we got the airbag light to go off too by putting a new seat back in here with an airbag. That's awesome. All right, we have secured the biggie bags. Looks like the donut spot is conveniently open. Let's try this out here. Very nice, very nice. They were new tires. I'm a little dizzy right before lunch. We're back at the shop. We ate our lunch. Now we've got a few things left on the to-do list before I hit the road. Kyle is going to dial out some of the camber. I'll show you that in 1 second. And then I am going to get back here and have a little bit of fun with sheet metal to do some water resistance. I'm not going to even say waterproofing because that's going to be impossible. But I don't know if you can see like in there. That's a hole that goes, I could touch the interior paneling right there. I don't want a bunch of water dumping in there. And the same goes for this hole into the trunk. I'd rather not have all the spray from the highway be diving in there. So I'm gonna do whatever I can to try and make that not happen. On the camber, these have adjustable camber plates, so you take the struts off of the strut. Whoa, why did this go black and white? What? What the hell just happened? Yo, that was weird. Anyways, not sure when the camera went onto artsy mode, but we're gonna give it a try of just lifting up the front to take the struts off of the coilover, loosen these things up, and slide this thing back to neutral on both sides. And then that was like 10 clicks away from hardest. We're gonna go to softest, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 clicks off to 9 clicks off of the softest setting. And it's really just that easy to change the stiffness on this, which is very nice. So Kyle's gonna work on those things, and I'm gonna throw some sparks, cut up some sheet metal, and hopefully make this thing a little bit more water resistant. I already know what you guys are thinking. You're wildly impressed, and I agree. I mean, I don't even know why I'm going down to California for a body kit when I can just build one in 2 hours. I'm kidding. But anyways, we had some fun trying to do a sealant line that was real smooth, like how the guy from RWB does it. And what we learned is you definitely have to use window urethane. Don't try and use standard silicone sealant because it gets a skin on the outside before the inside starts to even firm up at all. And boy, does that go south fast. But thanks to my extra cabinet hinges that I had for the boat project, I have well, it was a slow opening thing, but once I painted it, now it's a barely opening hinge. And I've got access to my gas cap, which I'm gonna replace once I get this tape off of here. Kyle, can you help me out? All right, Kyle helped me out here. And there was a remnant of a cap. This was a cap at one point. It's just the top of it got destroyed. So that's off. And then in goes the new one. Click. And we're good there. And then I'll shut my gas door. Wonderful. That might rattle for 1,000 miles down the highway, but hey, it might not. And we are much more water resistant at this point, which is really the name of the game. So I'm happy about that. It's time to load it up and get ready to hit the road. All right, guys, good morning, everyone. It is time to start the road trip. I drove this thing home last night and I really like this car. This was a good deal. I'm looking at my calendar and it has been quite a few days since I put out a video, so I'm gonna go ahead and put out this video right now. The next video in this series will start with attempting, it's about 1,100 mile road trip in this vehicle down south to TJ's place, where we'll be getting the Street Hunter body kit. I almost forgot to show you guys the design. Here's the rendering of this car right here. I'm gonna talk about it more in the next episode. You can see the John Sibal tag on the rendering. Very famous designer who's made some amazing designs, and this is something that the second I saw it, I told him I always wanted to build it, and he gave me his permission, and I'm so honored. I'm gonna talk all about it later. In my opinion, this is the coolest looking BRZ in the world, and it is very unique because you'll see it uses 2023 Toyota Prius headlights. It's gonna be a good challenge. I don't know if they fit in this car at all, but I got a set inside my house, so we're gonna find out. Make sure you tune in for the next episode where we talk about more. Hell, maybe I'll even 3D scan one and bring it on the road with me. I'll see you guys then. Peace!
Come on.